right, good afternoon and welcome back. We are going to start with agenda review. It is January 19, 2023. It's 1:30 p.m. and we are going to conduct an agenda review for the agenda for our meeting next week on January 26, 2023. First item under...
Excuse me, could I call the roll, please?
The first item is to call the roll.
Oh. I apologize.
You caught me, thank you so much. At this time, I would appreciate if the clerk please call the roll for agenda review.
Commissioner Fast.
Aye.
Commissioner Myers.
Myers, aye.
Commissioner O'Hara. Here. Commissioner Hanslick.
Hanslick here.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Here.
Commissioner Allenbrand.
Allenbrand, aye.
And Chairman Kelly.
Here, thank you very much. At this time, let's go to the first item under the consent agenda, and I'd ask the clerk to please read the item into the record.
Item number 1, consider declaring a 2012 Ford F-450 Super Duty ambulance as surplus and authorizing the sale to Johnson County Community College in accordance with the Johnson County Procedure 210.140- Declaration and Disposal of Surplus Personal Property for the negotiated sale price of $15,000.
Thank you very much. Staff is here to give us a presentation on this item. I believe we have Mr. Butler from FAC. Mr. Butler. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Now that you all can hear me for the first time, I'm going to invite Mr. Butler to please give us a report on this declaration of surplus and sale of the ambulance to the community college. Mr. Butler.
Good afternoon. Chris Butler, Division Director of Fleet Services. I'm joined here today by Deputy Chief Scott Sayre and Dr. Charles Fote from Johnson County Community College. I'm going to start with the analysis of this particular item, and then I'm going to hand off to Scott and let him give a little background, if that's okay. Johnson County Fleet Services works with the Department of Emergency Services to dispose of assets at the end of their planned life. This unit has reached the end of its useful life and is being decommissioned. It has, in fact, been in a backup role for a number of years. The $15,000 price is based upon recent sales of Johnson County ambulances through Purple Wave auction site. In January 2021, 2 identical ambulances were sold for $8,360 and $8,250 respectively. Exact same ambulance. The mileage was within a few thousand miles of this unit right now when they're sold. More recently, we sold a unit that was a few years newer. It was a 2015, 3 years newer for $23,650. Given the recent sales history and the current market conditions, we believe that $15,000 price is fair to both parties. According to Johnson County Procedure 210.140, Declaration and Disposal of Surplus Personal Property, it states that an item such as this may be disposed of through an alternative method. One of those specifically includes a transfer to a public entity through a negotiated agreement. I will hand off to Scott Sayre for some background information on the partnership with Johnson County Community College and why we think this is a good option, and then I will stand back for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Mr. Sayre.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Scott Sayre, Deputy Chief at Johnson County MedAct. We've had a longstanding partnership with Johnson County Community College and their Emergency Medical Services program. The college currently utilizes an ambulance to provide real-world scenario and simulation for their students. That ambulance, too, is at its end of life as a former used ambulance. The college approached us in just conversations we have on a regular basis about programmatic needs and asked if we had one that would be coming up for auction at some point or for sale. And through getting some new units in and this one being decommissioned into a reserve role and then now decommissioned to be sold, the opportunity and the timing worked out well. It's a longstanding partnership we have with the college, and it's a tremendous benefit really to the county at large, certainly MedAct, to have these partnerships. We have the students come and do ride-alongs, internships, and then ultimately there are students that we heavily recruit to come and be a part of MedAct and serve the county in the EMS function. So brief background, and we'll stand for any questions. I also have Dr. Fout from the community college if there's any specific questions regarding the college.
Mr. Sayre, thank you, and thank you to Mr. Butler for this presentation. I appreciate our partnership with Johnson County Community College. It's a gem within our community, and I think that this opportunity not only gives us the ability to garner more for our decommissioned ambulance than has been on comparable sales on Purple Wave, but allows us to continue to deepen that partnership and allow for a training opportunity for our EMS, which I know we're always looking for good people, and the workforce shortages are not lost upon our paramedics and EMS staff. So I appreciate the idea and the presentation. Let me open for questions from commissioners. First from Commissioner Allenbrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo that as well. What a great partnership. And being the liaison on the fire boards, I see the recruitment not only in MedAct, but also in the fire department. So it's a great partnership. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Hanslick?
Thank you. Just a question in terms of the price. The briefing sheet indicates that in January of 2021, 2 years ago, 2 identical ambulances were sold for about $8,300, but yet the negotiated price is $15,000. I'm not questioning that, but I'm just kind of curious why it's so much more now to charge the college for that equipment.
The current market for ambulances, as with any vehicles, and even more so with ambulances and emergency service units like this, has driven that price up and that market value up considerably. It's hard to find exact comps for a unit like this, or they're not unicorns, but they're also not a Chevy Impala either. So we tried to do our best to analyze the market, see where our actual sales of our county units have gone, and found a price that was comfortable to both parties and seemed fair.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Commissioner Ashcraft?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I look at this and find this issue to be in good order, except I just had one question. If KU had made that last basket, would you be using the Blue Wave auction site rather than the Purple Wave auction site? Just a little curious on that one.
College allegiance aside, we have a long-standing relationship with Purple Wave Auction and have had very positive results with them.
No, Jay.
Commissioner O'Hara?
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Sanders, Mr. Butler, and Dr. Say that again?
Dr. Fote, Johnson County Community.
I still didn't hear you.
Sorry, Dr. Fote, Johnson County Community College, Director
Dr.
of the EMS program.
Okay. Thank you for waiting the 2 hours during the recess to bring your presentation. I just wanted to thank you for that.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Hanslick?
Oh, I was just going to say, I assume, is there any objection to leaving this on consent?
You stole my line.
Any objection?
I have no objections.
Seeing no objection, this will remain on consent. Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank you all.
Next, onto the action agenda, would the clerk read the next item into the record?
Item number 2, consider approving the January 5th, 2023 business session minutes. Chairman Kelly was not a member of the board at that time, so he must abstain, and this must remain on action.
Yes, it must. Are there any questions regarding this item? Seeing none, that'll remain on action, and let's move on to item 3. Madam Clerk, would you read it into the record, please?
IFB number 2022-074, consider authorizing a contract to CM Concrete Incorporated to replace deteriorated paving at the Murray L. Nolte Transit Center located at 1701 West 56 Highway, Olathe, Kansas, 66061, in the amount not to exceed $291,820.
Thank you very much. This is the fifth phase of 7 on the project, I believe, and we have Mr. Pedig here to discuss this authorization of a contract with CM Concrete for the Transit Center. Mr. Pedig, welcome back.
Yes, thank you. Brian Pedig with Facilities. This is the 5th phase out of 10. We anticipate 5 more. There's phased work, and that's a great point, trying to work with the transit and bringing continuity to their business operations. We did receive 4 responsive bids for this pavement work that's needed out there. The low bidder, CM Concrete, while we haven't done work with them in the past, we discussed earlier this morning with other contractor, we did check their references, and we believe they have a complete and full understanding of the scope, and we are recommending we go forward with this bid.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from Mr. Pedig? Commissioner Ashcraft?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Pedig, alternate 1, there's some shifting in pricing there. Any explanation in terms of that? I'm not objecting, I just am curious. The Phoenix and Hammonds were they were significantly lower percentage-wise. Is there any understanding as to why that shift exists?
It is very difficult to know what contractors are thinking when they put their bids together, and especially when you start to get into alternates, you don't know, do they have a specialty piece of equipment or certain expertise with something? It's very
Fair
difficult
enough.
to know.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or concerns, comments regarding this contract with CM Concrete, Inc.? All right, seeing none, is there any objection to moving this to the consent agenda? Commissioner O'Hara?
I would prefer to leave this on action.
Okay. Any questions or concerns regarding the item?
It's transparency for the public.
All right, this item will remain on action.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pedig. Okay, with that, I believe we have completed the items for agenda review for next week's meeting. At this time, I am going to close the agenda review meeting, and I'll ask the clerk when she's ready to let us know when we can reopen the business meeting. So thank you all very much for your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.